At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
And I am Anthony Sear, and the pleasant and welcome to Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia, talking about promoting all things Liberia. One person, one institution that has been in the business of promoting all things Liberia is the Dehkontee Artist Theater that has been promoting our culture, promoting peace, performing of the arts, and you name it. And they have been around doing this job for over 40 years. This is what we are talking about when we are talking about promoting all things Liberia. And they are having a special event come Saturday. It is a Tripartite anniversary gather and fundraiser for this institution that have been around, promoting and educating us about our culture, that we makes us who we are as a people. So this program you are watching is focused on Liberia Spotlight, and we are throwing the spotlight on an institution that has been everything Liberia, promoting our culture and teaching us what we are all about. And this is why we are here, to see how you can get to know the work they have been doing, they continue to do, and want to do projects that they also have on hand, and how you can be of helping hand in elevating and promoting all things Liberia, specifically culture and peace. And when you talk to somebody in Liberia, Dr. Baba, they will tell you, well, let's keep the peace. Let's keep the peace. And you don't just keep the peace with your mouth. You do something. And there's this institution that is doing something about maintaining the peace and keeping the peace. You got to teach people what peace is. And you do that through culture. And you do that by telling them who they are and the value that they possess and the capacity they have to make it happen, to have a functioning society. My name is Anthony Sear. This is Focus on Liberia, and we are here with the Dehkontee Artist Theater celebrating its anniversary and having a fundraiser as well. We will invite Dr. Joseph Bagba, who has been the brain and leader behind the institution. That I think you should unmute yourself there. How you doing? It's good to have you.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right. The institution that you and your team have been running for over 40 years, some people talk about legacy. I think for me, this is legacy. That a Liberian institution committed to promoting peace, teaching, arts, and telling us about culture and performing it as well, has been around, standing and moving. That is remarkable. He is not doing it alone. He has a team of people that includes some young people. We have Erin Faya Tamba, who is the director for the Monserrato chapter of DATI. It's good to have you. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm okay. And thanks for having me on this show tonight.
It's good to have you. I'm excited that you are here to talk about the work that you guys have been doing. Lami T. Muya is also here. He's Public Affairs Officer for the institution of the Dubo chapter. Did I call that right? Dubo. He is the Public Affairs Officer for DATI. Yeah, Dubo. How you doing, Lami?
Thank you very much. I'm good. It's great to be here. Is the Dehkontee Artist Theater Incorporated Dubo chapter. I'm the public relations officer.
And Dad, I was calling it Dubo. Sometimes I hear people call it Trubo. So the actual name is Dubo.
Yeah, because the river is the
Okay.
Dew River. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So Bo, in the Kwa language, especially Kra or Basa, Bo means within. Because Morea is a peninsula.
Mm-hmm.
So the water goes into the thing. So they build a town at the bank of the river. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what they call it ball. When you say ball, that means something close under you or whatever
Right.
it is. Yeah. So do ball means they build that town near the mouth of the river
All
of the
right.
ball. Yeah. Yeah.
That is good to know. From
Yeah,
my
that,
side,
that that's from the Dewian side. That's from the Bassa side. Then
exactly.
the five people call it Duko. Yeah,
You call.
they got their own, pronunciation of that
Mm-hmm.
same word because they intersect.
Mm-hmm.
Those ethnic groups intersect at the Dew River. At that place there you got the Gola, you got the Va, you got the Dewian, and then you got the Bassa. They are the original inhabitants of that region.
That is what I like about the Dehkontee Artist Theater. When it comes to our history, our culture, there's something for you to learn every day. From
Mm-hmm.
my Kwa speaking side, when we say Bo, Bo could mean a place. So I agree with you 100% that the place surrounding that river you mentioned. So when somebody say I'm going Bo, that means you're going on the farm. That there's a particular place. You
Mm-hmm.
know, folks in cyberspace again. If you are just joining us now, we want to say welcome. This is a special program here. This is focused on Liberia Spotlight, the program we use to throw the spotlight on our institution for our community that is doing something extraordinary. It might be that individual who is breaking grounds and doing something extraordinary. The Dehkontee Artist Theater is one of those institutions in Liberia known that has been around for over 40 years, teaching our culture, teaching our history, teaching us about peace and how we can coexist as a group of people, and they are having an anniversary and they are raising some money to continue the good work. They have two major projects that they are embarking on. We want you to be here to see what they have been able to do so far. Let's get it started. I don't want to blow this thing. You are here, you will do all the explanation and tell our people what you are doing. So talk to me that the anniversary. Why the anniversary? Why?
Well, the anniversary, one thing that I first let me begin by saying thank you for the opportunity for us to be on the show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gives not only us the opportunity to explain or express ourselves regarding what we are doing for the country
Mm-hmm.
and for the global, community,
Mm-hmm.
but it also gives the people who are listening an opportunity to learn something about their country, about
Mm-hmm.
their history and their culture. Because in Liberia, when people talk about culture, they just think it's just limited to taking off your clothes and putting chalk on your face and dancing and all of that. But the conversation that we're going to be having with you tonight will lay the groundwork, the basis for them to understand better that when you talk about culture, there are so many things that are involved. It's both your spiritual aspect, the physical aspect, the spiritual aspect of it, the metaphysical, aspect of life. And so many things are involved, but I will break them down a little bit. Now, I heard you say we've been doing this for over 40 years. This year is the 46th anniversary of Dehkontee Artist Theater. I established this organization in 1977. 1977, now we'll talk about culture also. This is where it comes in. I'm going to put it into context.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk about the year 1977, you want and we'll talk about historical context as well. That's
Mm-hmm.
what we call culture now. So I'm talking about 1977. When I say 1977 about Liberia, then we want to know what happened in 1977. So for instance, in 1977, who was the president of the country? Who was the president of Liberia? You want to know that because that will give you an idea of what was going on in Liberia at that time, historically. So 1977, President William R. Tolbert Jr. was the president of the Republic of Liberia. Now, what were some of the policies that he promoted? Dr. Tolbert promoted total involvement for higher heights. He promoted from mat to mattresses. Those were policies. Those were his policies. Total involvement for higher heights, meaning that he wanted an inclusive society. He wanted an inclusive Liberia, where the American Liberians and the indigenous Liberians will actively participate in government, in the day-to-day affairs of the country. And he did an excellent job. He was one of the first Liberian presidents to appoint a lot of indigenous people to high, cabinet positions. People tell them, Jackson F. Doe, Dwyer, he brought in a lot of people. The status quo at that time didn't like it because they felt that he was doing too much. He was bringing in too many people, but that was his policy. His policy was total involvement for higher heights. Then he didn't stop there. He said from mat to mattress. He saw that a lot of the people, Liberian people, were suffering, and some of them didn't even have beds to sleep on. They were sleeping on the floor and all of that. So he wanted to provide opportunity for Liberians to at least live a higher life, so that they could not just sleep on a mat, but at least that you can afford to purchase a bed with mattress on it and all of that, So and then he talked about self-reliance. That was also another policy of his. So you can see that at this time also he was very liberal. He was very liberal. He was one of those that brought Bacchus Matthews in the country. He brought Jew Mason, Tripartite, Charles Taylor, all these young, very vibrant intellectuals at that time. He invited them from the diaspora because he said he wanted the diaspora Liberians to join the people on the ground to build Liberia, so there would be total involvement, all of that. So it was at this time. So at this time, there was a cultural renaissance in the country. The cultural renaissance sparked also from the president himself. President Tolbert was the first Liberian president that I knew, got to know, that spoke an indigenous language. He spoke Pele. One of his initial addresses was in Pele. That was a big thing. Nobody ever heard a Liberian president speaking an indigenous language. It was something like an abomination. You're speaking a country language, but he wasn't like that. So you see, it was at this time. And then also for the youth, he was a president who was youth focused. He considered the youth of Liberia as his precious jewels. This is where I came in. I came in as one of his precious jewels because he saw me as a jewel. He saw my talents, and that's how we started. So you got all of these multiple, transformations taking place at the same time, when Tolbert took over, because, we had a period of stagnation from 1944 to 1971. It was very bureaucratic. Tolbert was a different type of president. He was a benevolent despot. A benevolent despot is somebody who is kind and all of that, but you do anything, he will say to Bela Yala. You didn't have free speech. Tolbert, the free speech thing started during Tolbert's time. Even multi-partyism started during his time. When was it in Sawyer tested the waters and said he was running to become mayor. Because they would just only choose somebody from the Chewy party and all of that. So there was at this time that Dehkontee Artist Theater was established. So that 46 years ago. But you know, the story about Dehkontee artists and myself goes a little beyond 1977. Uh, I started as a playwright 49 years ago. So you see, we're talking about Tripartite. I'm trying to explain to you where the Tripartite thing coming from. So 49 years ago, I established, I was called. I received a calling actually from God. I always say it to people so they understand that the resilience that I have to do what I've been doing for the past 49 years is not just out of my career per se, but it's something that is more divine and spiritual. So 49 years ago, I wrote my first play when I was a senior in high school at Carroll High. I wrote this play, and God gave me the opportunity to direct it, to produce it, and to stage it at the Open Door Theater 49 years ago. So next year, I will be celebrating my golden jubilee, my 50th anniversary for doing this kind of thing, which is half a century. You know, I've been doing it for half a century almost. Okay, so that's part of the tripartite. Then the third anniversary is this year. My wife and I are celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary. And what is interesting about my wife and myself is that the play that I told you about that I wrote in 1974, the theme of that play was about national unity and reconciliation. Because what happened was that in the play, Kekula or Pelebo was taken to live in Kingsburg with the Congo people because the parents wanted him to be quick, to learn how to speak English, to go to school, and all of that. He ended up falling in love with the people's daughter. And when he fell in love with the people's daughter, it was very embarrassing. They said, well, we're Christians, okay, our daughter can't have a backup, so they got to get married. So they got married and they started having children, and the children were related to both the Congo people and related to the indigenous people. That was the theme of it. So we're talking about national unity integration, which also promoted Tottenham's integration and national unification policy, as well. Well, what is interesting about that is that sometimes God can direct you to do things that will end up being yourself. So 9 years after I wrote that play, director, I fell in love with an American Liberian woman and got married to her 40 years ago. So those are the three things that we are celebrating on December 16th at 100 Sharon Avenue, Sharon Hill, PA. And the event starts at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. sharp. I'd like to advise all those who have purchased tickets, who have reserved, made reservations, and all of that, is that I'm not that usual Liberian person that when you're having something 6 o'clock, it starts 10 o'clock. If you turn drunk and come 10 o'clock on Friday, we may be concluding, the event and doing something else. So I want people to really be serious about it, because this is one way that we can help to change the mindset of the people. So basically, that's what it is. So Dehkontee artists were established at the University of Liberia in 1977, at a time when the Liberian society was very, very hype. You had Barcus Matthews, Fambule, Tipote, Jew Mason talking about fascism and Marxism, communism, all the little isms and things, and they were anti-democratic and all of that. So there was a lot of friction, in the society, which of course ended up with the young people falling off with Tolbert, ending up in jail, people going to go redeem them, and the coup took place and all of that. But that's the period in which this organization was established. And it was established to promote peace and reconciliation, to promote the culture of Liberia, to preserve it through the performing and visual arts. So for the past 46 years, Dehkontee Artist Theater has been putting up dramas, musicals, having lecture series on culture and the history. And of course, the reason why you see these young people here was because in 2019, now we say 2019, also I got to put it into historical and cultural context. You talk about 2019, you want to on Liberian history, you're talking about what, a post-war period. So what's happening in the post-war period right now as we speak? People are traumatized. People have seen a lot of atrocities. There's so much tension in the country. People don't trust one another anymore. The culture of Liberia has been attacked. That's one big thing that happened during this wartime. The culture of Liberia was attacked. Unfortunately, part of that attack came from a sitting president who bulldozed the National Cultural Center, demolished it, sold the land to a foreign businessman to construct a hotel on sacred grounds. When our traditional people, when we designate a place to be the grove, the sacred grove, whether it's the Poro or the Sandy or the Ball or whatever it is, that's not an area where anybody can go and just do anything you feel like doing. When you do that, that's an abomination. It's sacrilegious. And that's what happened in Liberia. And then people are wondering why we're suffering, why Liberia this, why we're not going this way, why we're not doing this way. Because we violated the traditional laws, rituals of the country.
Dr. Baba,
yeah,
46 years, you and your institution have been committed to teaching and promoting our culture, performing the performing arts as well. 46 years later, what can you tell us have been achieved?
With respect to Dehkontee artists?
Yes, as an institution in your line of work, what have been achieved? I mean, have you achieved your goal? Have you been able to reach some level of success with, what your goal has been?
Yeah, in 46 years, yes, we've achieved a lot. In 46 years, I started with promoting my first, as I told you, my first play, my first concern, my first dramatic production ever was about uniting the people of Liberia. To unite the people of Liberia, I myself had to set a good example. So for 40 years, I've been married to an American Liberian woman as a traditional man. When my wife and myself got married, during those days, people used to go to Las Palmas for honeymoon, or go to this place for honeymoon, this and that. When my wife and myself got married, I told her we got in the car, we went to Grand Gile. We passed through, so we went straight to my grandparents in Tofuetan, in the village, for her to see the place. I mean, that's not a life that she was used to. But if you're going to get married to a traditional royalty or prince, I got to carry you for the people to see. So when the village and things and all of that. So that's the kind of thing we've been doing. So we've been together. We have children. Our children are related to the Weekses, the Johnson, the Barnard, the this and that, blah, blah, blah. So that has been going on. Also, within this period, I was able to attain my education in the area. Graduated from Liberia College, in literature and French. I got a Liberian government scholarship to go to an acting school. I went to a school of theater at the University of North Carolina. Got my MFA in that, qualified in that. Not just only that, but within the same time, I also got my second master's in elementary and special education, and also my doctorate in educational leadership. You see, Those are all trainings and stuff. That's what got me in a position to speak with authority. So it's not just only my traditional background where I have the traditional cultural knowledge, but I also have the technical knowledge, and we are
So that
prepared.
for the listening audience, what have been the specific things that the institution has been teaching and promoting that Liberians need to know about?
Okay, well, so then I will bring you now to 2019, as I
Mhm,
was saying. In
mhm,
2019, we talk about after the genocide.
mhm,
We talk about after the war. In 2019, what really happened was that Mrs. Salif's term was over, and the United Nations pulled out. When they pulled out, it, it was very concerning to me because it just showed that, oh, well, the United Nations were only there to protect Mrs. Salif. And after her time, they packed up and they left. So then who's going to keep the peace? I said, well, that part of the whole situation is the responsibility of Liberian citizens. That's our civic responsibility. But then also, I also thought about the fact that uh, the perpetrators of the war use the young people, like these young boys that you see here tonight. They
mhm.
use them as combatants. So I wanted to reverse that technique and that tactic that they play to use the young people not as combatants but as peace advocates. So that's what I said. And then I said, well, if we're going to use the young people, then they must be mature. At least they must have some level of education. And since DATI is a collegiate cultural organization, I will tap into the university population to recruit young people so that they can be peace advocates, train them so that they can promote peace and reconciliation in the country. So for the past 4 years, these two young men you see, and we have others, like hundreds of them, some in Kipama, some in Masurado, all of that. For the past 4 years, they have volunteered to show you that the children are tired with war, they're tired with violence. Nobody paid them anything. All I do was sometimes send them the money for them to buy data to get on the internet so I could teach them and all of that. They went to places. They have programs in Kepamas. We had a cultural festival for 3 days last year, and all those kinds of things. So we've been there, and then not only that, we have radio programs, civic education program. Before the election started, we launched our radio program, and it lasted for almost like 10 months to 11 months on Radio Avant in the Morovia area, Radio Paraclete in Banga, the capital radio station, and Radio Phoenix in Harper. So every week, I was always lecturing on the radio, talking, appealing to voters to be non-violent, to respect the choices of others, to seek legal redress the way it should and all of that. So I'm glad you asked that question because I am very, very pleased with the outcome of this election. I'm very pleased that we don't have bloodshed. I'm very pleased that even the sitting president conceded. I'm very pleased that we have an elderly statesman that was elected as president. And we are prepared. We're not just going to sit down and fold our hands. We are prepared to work along with the incoming administration or any other person for that matter in the future. We're prepared to work with anybody to go from county to county to promote peace and reconciliation, to revive the cultural industry of the country, and also to assist with the educational system. The educational system needs to be revamped,
Thank you.
and we can assist in that area.
Thank you, Dad. And let me talk to the young people here. We're talking about peace, you being peace agent, you being involved with the arts, our culture. And I just heard that Baba saying that you are not paid for what you do. You are volunteering by becoming agent of peace and promoting peace in Nigeria. Let me come to you, Henry. You are the director for the Monserrato chapter. Talk to me. Uh, what kept you with that level of volunteer work and got you going? Uh, what you see in this? Why are you doing this? Why are you part of this?
Okay. Thanks for that question.
Mhm,
You know, in our country now, especially for we the young people,
mhm,
we are then faced with a lot of challenges, and our concern is not like for the present alone, but for the future.
mhm.
Because as time passes by, the older ones will be leaving us, and if we can preserve what they had as our culture to maintain in the future, that we will also use to guide our children that are yet to come, it will become a very challenging situation for our country. So we are doing this with the intent of preserving our culture, not to run after money, though money is important in everything that we do. But we are not focusing on money to let go what will benefit us and our children. So we keep our minds focused to doing it with our own mind until we can see that yes, majority of our friends and comrades in Liberia here can also see essence to promoting peace, because without peace, we can't do anything in Liberia here. If we have like conflict in Liberia, there will be no schooling. We have our parents running here and there, especially for the older ones, it becomes a challenge. And we don't want that to happen. So we want to maintain the peace and preserve our culture, because with culture, it tells you like things that you do, how you approach your fellow Liberians, because we are all one. We are all one Liberian. We only differ because of maybe political distributions that we have, districts, we have counties, but we are all the same. And so if we come together and do things in togetherness, we believe that we can live in this country as one and do things together to promote the country and to preserve our culture as well. So this
And
is
so,
what keeps us going.
Henry, you as director for the Monserrato chapter, uh,
Yeah.
what specifically do you do as director to get the organization going?
Yeah, so as the director of the chapter, um, I have my colleagues that I work with. So at times we organize events like we do a cleanup campaign because we don't have the financial strength to execute much of our projects. So we organize events that we can undertake by ourselves. And we
Mhm.
do it. We do cleanup campaign. We go like door to door outreach to promote the peace of our country, to educate other people on our culture. And when we were graduating in 2019, we had a play that we performed. It was called Our Girls Are Not Your Chicos. Yeah, so we were actually like against um, sexual harassment and the how to call it human trafficking. So we had a play that we perform. So we do these things that we can afford to promote the peace and culture of our country.
You are promoting peace. Do you know what is peace?
Yeah, peace. Like we said, Liberia has been faced with a lot of challenges. We are not saying that maybe if there is peace, there is no conflict or there is no misunderstanding, but the ability for us to live together in harmony, to coexist, to resolve our differences, and be together and do things that we can go beyond the limit, then we will be able to live and do things together in a peaceful manner that our differences can be settled.
So let's talk about the culture aspect of it, and performing the arts as well.
Yeah.
Uh, what value you see in preserving our culture and practicing our culture and even performing the arts?
Yeah, so the value for preserving our culture and performing our culture is basically for me, I'm a Kisi, I hail from Foya.
Mhm,
So there are cultural and traditional practices that my parents passed down to me
mhm,
through like or family education, like traditional way of educating me, and would believe that to educate people is not only by one means. There are people who learn by what they see. So by you performing and demonstrating what exactly you're trying to present, people will understand you in a very different and maybe the simplest way possible. But then if you maybe wrote a book to describe how the Kisi tradition is and how we do things, majority of the folks, especially the older ones or people who grew up in the interior without acquiring the modern education, will not read the book and see what exactly you're trying to say. But if you do a visual performance, maybe you put the dialect, like for me now, I can maybe do a description in Kisi that my colleagues who only maybe understand the Kisi will understand exactly what I'm trying to say and see how to practice and demonstrate it. So it is very important for us. That's the value I see into it, that we should not only rely on written communication, but we should also use oral communications and
Visual.
visual art to promote our messages.
Excellent. Visual arts is very significant, and that's what Dr. Baba has been emphasizing. Lamin T.J. Moyan is the Public Affairs Officer for the Dubai chapter. Lamin, I can't welcome you enough. Talk to me. You are part of this institution dedicated to promoting peace and our culture. You are a young man. Most of your friends are with the political parties, and you are here. What you doing here and not on the political side, my friend?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. This has been what many persons have been up to, as a young guy, being influential in society. You find out that politicians will come to say the I will say, but the interest in our performing arts, especially when we were recruited in 2019 by Dr. Baba, he explained to us what it takes like to preserve your culture. Sometimes people don't know, they will say the culture is only related to this tribe, but whatever culture you have, like for example, I'm from Nova, there are certain cultures we have, even if you go in the southeast, it will only have a slight change, but it will also be the same. So everybody going one-sided, like we have many of our colleagues who are the Zogos we found on the street, we that are preserving the culture, talking to those people, impacting knowledge in them. Sometimes, the Western education may fail, but if you bring it down to the lowest level, how people used to respect elders in the past, that person talking to them, it will help them greatly. So to just follow everyone is something that for me, I don't believe in. I always love to try something that I have interest in. So the interest in performing arts and the culture is one thing that I really have interest in, and that's what I want to promote. And when it comes to the issue of the preservation of peace, uh, sometimes you might not know this, but even when our one of our political leaders in the country, Mr. Alexander Cummings, visited Grand Jide along with Honorable Yeke Koloba, and there were activities that went over there that were not up to the tradition of that place. We took it upon ourselves that we needed to actually go to them, but then we went there, we performed some rituals, and we asked them for forgiveness on behalf of the people of Grand Jide. And we also visited the German embassy. There are instances where, so performing basic responsibilities when it comes to displaying our rural cultures is something that catch the eye. Sometimes people feel like you only become a politician or maybe become someone else. That's the only way you will be able to make it in life. But we have been sending this message to them that hey, it is not only about like saying I will say for politicians, it's also about preserving your culture. Like for some part of or years back, we visited Maryland County. We displayed to the youth over there. If you go today, you ask about the Dehkontee Artist Theater Incorporated and what they actually did in there and what they are doing. You realize that more youth will intend, even dress in the way we display our cultures there. I'm from Foya. I went there, I display as a Foyan or as a Kisi. I had my lapa on me and the rest of it. And other people from there, you realize that we portray certain aspects of the Grebo culture. And, doing that keeps you motivated. And what you believe in is what you always follow. Like we don't have to always follow the wind. Sometimes it's good to go in opposite direction as a wind. So these are things that motivate some of us to actually say we will continue what we started in 2019 when we were recruited. Remember, you being from I'm from the University of Liberia graduate. I got a BSc in biomedical science, but still believe in culture. And if you also look at even if you are blending science and culture, the impact it will have on the society. Most of the things we see today, the apps we see and we use, these are cultures that were blended from the European side of the divide. Once we can also incorporate with our culture here, it will help promote peace and reconciliation at every space that many of us will not think that it will reach.
Thank you there. I mean, that you are doing a great job. Too smart young people. Your
You
institution,
haven't seen anything yet.
your institution has reached out to them, and I mean, able to tell them the importance of peace, the value of our culture, and here they are explaining it in clear terms for someone to understand. But that do something for us here. You know, there's no Liberia without culture. There's no Liberia without peace. These are the two areas of focus for your institution. When we watch the European movie, they tend to have impact on us. They are teaching their culture. They are teaching their way of life. They are teaching how to relate to each other. The Nigerians are doing very well. The Nigerian movie, when you watch it, you see the culture, you see the respect, you see how they are trying to teach us. Hey, you are deviating from your culture, and they are correcting some things with our culture that sometimes need to be a little bit move in the direction. So, talk to me. The goal of the Dehkontee artists here, right, is what? The overall goal. What's your national goal here? What you want Liberians to know, to see, to accept?
We've reached a stage where no more talking again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's action.
Mm-hmm.
Because the initial goal of Dehkontee Artist Theater was and is to promote, to preserve and promote the culture and history of Liberia through the performing and visual arts and literacy.
Mm-hmm.
Our vision is to construct a school of the performing and visual arts. So we are at the stage where we want to begin to implement our vision.
Thank you.
That's why we're raising money to do so. Now, you heard the young people say, oh, no, we wanted to do this thing, but we didn't have the money, so our activities were limited. That also is a very important thing that we need to tell the Liberian people about. You're talking about Nigerian people having movies, or Ghanaians having movies and all of that. As I told you earlier, I got a Liberian government scholarship to go to acting school. But I was taught by Broadway and Hollywood, actors and directors. The only thing the difference between the Nigerians and myself is that the Nigerians are supporting their Joe Baba, and Liberians not supporting the Joe Baba. Nigerians are supporting Wolo Soyinka, and I will Wolo Soyinka of Liberia. I'm not getting the support. The children that you see there on so many occasions during the past administration, we appeal to the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs. We invited them to so many different things and all of that. They never even had the courtesy to respond. To even respond to an email, or correspondence. They never did that. That's the kind of thing that is very important. So you talk about 46 years, you talk about 49 years. Next year we'll make it 50 years, half a century. since I've been doing this, on a struggling level. So if Liberians want, if they want to watch their movies, if they want Liberia to be successful in the show base and all of that, they already got me. That's why I explained to you what I did in the past, for the summer years. I prepared myself to do it. As an educator, I went to a school of education to learn how to teach a population like the people you call Zokos and all of that, people who were denied the opportunity for them to go to school, to have a regular school experience. I did special education. That one of the reasons why I did it, because I was in Liberia during the war, and I saw that the young people were deprived. So you have somebody who is like 40 years old today, that was maybe like 9 years old, 40 years ago, that or 30 some more years ago, that was given arms to be child soldier. After 30 years, the person 39 years old, they probably, if they were in second grade at that time, then you got 39-year-old people all over the place in Liberia with second grade education. So what do you do? What do we do now moving forward? What we can do moving forward is that we can provide remedial educational programs for them so that they can be able to read and write, express themselves, because we're also using a foreign language as our medium of communication. So that even makes it more difficult for a majority of our people who live in the hinterland, whose mother tongue is not English. You heard the young man say he PC, the other people, the Grebo, Ukru, Akran, Basa, we got all these different things. So there are a lot of things that are going on. So one of the things that we're looking forward to is the cooperation of the incoming government. If the incoming government can cooperate, we can provide the technical support. We can provide the technical services that they need. These young people, they are college graduates. Henry has his first degree in biomedical science. The same with Lamy. Other youth that we have the manpower. We got people in guidance counseling. We got people in agriculture. We got all these people. So these young people, we can put them to use. So one of the things that we're trying to do also is to establish the School of the Performing and Visual Arts and Center for Peace and Cultural Studies. When you have a bloody civil war like the one that we had, the government should prioritize the institutionalization of peace education. It should be taught in the schools, in the communities, in the various counties. We are prepared to go to those places to do that kind of work, you see. And what will it do if we got the cooperation of the government? What it will do for Liberia is that it will provide job opportunity for young people doing something very positive, teaching the literate people, the people in the hinterland, how to read and write. And when you elevate the educational level of the people, it becomes easier for the government to have the citizens to cooperate. They will be more informed. They will have skills that they can use to earn their own livelihood, for them to be independent, to develop entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial skills, that they can do things for themselves. They don't have to wait for government. Right now, everything is government. Everybody wants to do a government job. I don't want to do a government job because I got too many skills for me to say I'm running behind somebody for a job. But I can be a consultant. I can provide workshops for teacher training. I can provide courses to teach the young artists and things, so that we can have our own Liberian Hollywood or whatever it is. Those are things that I can do that I feel will benefit the country, and also that will help to promote my legacy. So at this time, we're trying to build the institution, because one of the ways in which we can preserve Liberian culture is to institutionalize it. You must have a structure. Unfortunately for us, as I said, Kennecha, which was like a little, institution, traditional institution set up for all the different artists from across the country. Why would a government go and destroy a cultural shrine? That in itself is an international crime. The destruction of the cultural heritage of a nation is an international crime. It's the same thing like you're killing people, and or you singling out one set of people to commit mass murder or whatever it is. That's the same thing. Just research it. You will see that cultural heritage, the cultural heritage of a nation must always be preserved, because that what makes the identity, the national identity. We don't have a national identity. You see how these children are speaking. One of the things they didn't tell you is that the curriculum that are developed to train them to be peace advocates. That's why you see you asking them questions left and right. They can turn it upside down. They will answer you good. And I don't have to coach them to get there to talk. Because first of all, I sent them to go to the traditional people. I told them, I say, if you feel that you know book, and you think that that old tradition where the book people now sort of talk to the country people or to talk to the people in the village, this is not what you're going to get with my training. With my training, you will go to the village and go sit down with the villager and ask them questions about how life is, and come back and do research on your own family and tell me where you come from. So as each of them, they will tell you they had to do papers. I marked the papers and all of that. It was not paper, it was voluntary, but it seemed like they had to work for the certificate that they got. So they did research on themselves, because you got to know yourself in order for you to do this. So I sent it to the elders. They want the young people in Montserrat. I sent it to the old folks in Barnaville, Quebec. They went and sat down with the old folks that they did whatever they did. They did a traditional thing. They taught them it. The children in Kepamos, I sent it to Benendu, to Big Town. They went and sat down with the chiefs and things. They killed a white sheep who did a traditional sacrifice. When we had the cultural festival in Harper last year, we slaughtered a cow. We had to do the traditional thing for them to see it. So these kids, they were introduced to the traditional method. And those are the kinds of things that must be taught in the schools. And we are prepared to help revolutionize our educational system so that our children won't get out of the place and don't even know where Swedru is. But they know where London is. They can tell London, oh yeah, that's the capital of England. But they can't tell you where Swedru is. They can't tell you where Riverses is. They can't tell you what Nibo and Queen means. Those kinds of things. Those are things that we can assist with, so that we get to know ourselves. And when you know yourself, then you see the Nigerians, you don't carry nonsense to them in their country to go do so, because they carry a national identity. They know it. When you carry something that doesn't look Nigerian, say no, this is not us. They will tell you. But like, remember, he didn't know anything. He take the thing, he wearing the thing like he's talking about Oga. Then he say, we don't do Oga thing here. You know that. Eh? If you say Budio, you say Budio, yeah, then we'll do the Budio thing. That all on the thing. But not Oga.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And folks in Sabasit, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are in conversation with the Dehkontee artist theater that has been teaching Liberian culture, also performing the fine and visual arts. This institution is more about trying, not trying, they have actually been doing the work of preserving our culture and trying to preserve our identity, who we are, and that is what we need to do. And the institution has its own challenges. Right now, they have a goal constructing, a building
Not just a building, but an institution. Our host has frozen, eh? Got a little problem there.
To see, because this is very, 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 very important. Yeah, sorry, Dad. My internet kind of dropped. I was,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I was just reading that the purpose of the fundraiser is to construct the first school of performing and the visual arts and a center for peace and cultural studies. So they want to construct this place that will represent an institution, for the visual arts, for peace study as well, in Liberia. And that, Baba, you are talking about, a renaissance. In order for us to know who we are and maintain who we are, we have to go through a renaissance. It got to be a cultural renaissance. And I think what I'm hearing here is this institution wants to be at the center stage of that. And this is Liberian. The institution is, it's Liberian. So
Yeah,
Liberians
let me just explain a little bit about that.
please.
So within the School of the Performing and Visual Arts, will be offering courses and degrees in crew, basa, pele, dance, the traditional dance, and then you go to school and get degree for it. We go into school to get degree in English and French.
Yeah.
Why you can't get degree in pele?
I won't get my first degree in crew.
Yeah, you might do have money. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be beautiful? I mean, imagine how many persons, probably Liberians, are born on this side and other countries that want to go to Liberia to get a certificate that they can speak Basa, they can speak.
Yes, exactly. And the dance and thing, the traditional dance and thing, because the School of the Performing Arts will be something like, in the structure of the poro and the sandy. When you come there, if you're going to be studying, getting a degree in Pele language, what that will entail you're learning the history of the Pele ethnic group, you're learning the dances and things that they do, the traditional customs of the place and all that. And why is this good? This is good when you're designing national policy. When you're designing national policy, you have somebody who is specialized in the Pele culture that will advise the national leader what the Pele people want, so that whatever policy you devise will be in the best interest of the people of that region. You see, so we need cultural experts on different ethnic groups and things, so that
and that, I'm not cutting you off. That means even the policy makers, the politicians, the individuals will advise them. Here they have communication experts who are assigned with politicians to tell them what to say, especially when I go into the different region.
Right.
Like me earlier explained about the situation when Cummings are going to Grand Jida, how they didn't relate to the people culturally, in a very respectful manner. So they had to intervene and say, no, this is how you relate to the people. So this is an institution that's going to do so much good in terms of preserving our culture and promoting unity and peace in Liberia.
And what that will do also is that it's gonna open up, Liberian culture on the global scene. There will be a lot of people coming for research, cultural research. It will also promote cultural exchange, where our young people will go to England to go learn the English way of doing things, and they will come to learn the Liberian way.
It will make Liberia more attractive in terms of tourism. People want to learn the culture because in an institution teaching the literature there for them to read, and
then on regular basis we'll have performances, live performances where people can fly, from Europe to come and watch the production. Just how to go around scouting for footballers and all of that. They can come and scout for actors. Liberian kids are very, very talented.
Indeed,
but it needs somebody like myself to establish an institution where their talents can be harnessed, you see, for us to do it. We can have our own festival, our own cultural festival, I did an example of it in Harper. In Harper, when we had a festival, we had the Gribble War dancers, we had the chiefs, we had the students, we had the Dati, peace advocates. We marched up and down in the streets. We did a traditional, slaughtering of the bull and all of that, so that the children can see what our people do, what our custom is. Some of them, it was their first time seeing something like that. They say, oh, we didn't know that this is what they do. We had somebody, one of the traditional Gribble guys, come who knew how to perform the ritual, come to do it. He slaughtered the thing and showed them what happened. And they, passed they were doing libation, passed the thing around for them to taste it and do this. So they got an experience, doing that. And that's what we need. Experiential learning is what we need for our school system. You can't just let the children go to school from ABC to BA degree and they don't know anything. You can't speak any language. So the preservation of our culture also that we're talking about has to do with the preservation of our languages. Most of the young people these days, you ask them, say, can you speak Swahili? They say, oh, I can't speak that thing. That's not a good thing. They cannot speak their own traditional languages and they cannot even speak the English good. They cannot even write it. You see, so that's miseducation, that's poor education.
And that almost all of us can't even write our native languages, which is very sad. And it is very sad. We have to change that,
Yes.
We're going to lose our languages and we can write them because English is penetrating now. We speak English, everywhere. And, we need to do better. And I think that where the institution is stepping in and saying, hey, we need to do something. And that is why Liberians need to come around, because we have to do it institutionally. We have to institutionalize the things we want to preserve.
And I can assist the country to do the curriculum that will begin that process, because we got to start from elementary. You got to start from it. You can't have a Liberian child coming out of school and not knowing how to speak any Liberian language except for English. Liberia is not England. Liberia is not America.
No.
The Fanti children speaking their Fanti, they speaking their tree.
Yeah, even those ones that are born out of the country. Even those ones that are born out of the country, Ethiopians who are born in America here,
they're Chinese.
Somalis who are born in America here,
they're Chinese.
Yeah, but if you bring it to us,
that's ridiculous.
It's a shame. But my son can't even speak Kru, and I'm here and I'm very fluent with the language. I feel we can't keep failing ourselves in terms of preserving what is ours. That time is fast spent. Look, fellow Liberians, sometimes people think that the best contribution you can make to your country is to be president. That is a lie from the devil.
Yes, it is.
The best contribution you can make to your country is to do something small but powerful. And that is what this institution is doing. Imagine preserving our languages that they are taught, they are written and kept. And we are being encouraged to learn how to write and speak Kru, Bassa, Pele, all the other languages. And how our people lived many years ago, how they resolve conflict, our interconnectedness. Come on. This is us. And we are running away from it. And, someone will not want to contribute to something.
You're running away from it, we're running after you.
We see people raising money for politicians. And, at the end of the day, they get to power. And the next thing they're doing, they're taking all the money for themselves. They're not being in school. This is something that will protect and preserve our identity. It's something we all should contribute to. Because when this is gone, we are gone.
Yeah, but listen. Let me back up what you just said. You say the politicians come and they steal the money and do this and that. That's because they don't know their culture. In our culture, we respect our name. Your name. You say see. But you say see, they say which see you're talking about. We want to know which see we're talking about. So you don't want so you don't want for that name to be disgraced. But if you don't know your culture, you don't have pride in yourself, you do the kinds of things that they're doing. And they're walking up and down, got their heads up in the sky. No, that's the wrong thing to do, because you're depriving so many people of it. But however, let's get to the program and tell the people invite the people again. The event will take place this Saturday in what's that?
Yeah, this
Sharon
Saturday,
Hill.
and yep, this is the venue.
Yeah.
This
The
is the venue, the
Philadelphia
Philadelphia
International
International
Church.
Church. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Dan.
100 Sharon Avenue, Sharon Hill, PA. I know that earlier we had sent invitations out months ago that had a different address, but we had to change the address, and the address is the one in Sharon Hill, Philadelphia International Church, 100 Sharon Avenue, Sharon Hill, PA. Now, there are three aspects of the program. The first aspect of the program has to do with the Jewish, traditional African Jewish Thanksgiving and peace ceremony, where we will be offering the kola nuts, pepper, and salt with the powder and everything, and praying for peace and reconciliation in Liberia. That will take place first before we have our dinner. And after the dinner will be the rally, where we will ask people to give whatever they can give so that we can raise funds, to begin the construction. The first phase of our fundraising has to do with the first funds that we're going to get, that we're going to generate this time around, will be used to purchase and appropriate the land where we want the school to be built. So that's the first thing. So when we are able to purchase that land and do it, we will inform all of our donors about the progress, and then we will continue with the fundraising, to do the construction and hopefully to furnish the place and open it up. So it depends on how much support we get from the people, the people of Liberia and international friends, or NGOs and all of that, that will determine how early we will start. But we're looking up to maybe like within the next 3 years or so to be able to finish, the completion of the
Thank you,
construction.
Thank you, Dad. And you know we are here. You can always reach out to us. There should be all hands on deck kind of operation to not only preserve and protect, but also to be able to keep our culture and practice it. We all want to do this as a team of people doing.
And so far too, we want to thank all those who have begun to donate. Especially my students. This particular program is is being sponsored by my students from Cottington, from St. Patrick's. In particular, they have been in the forefront, of this program. The chair of the program, Mrs. Linda Bonesmill Tall, is my student from Cottington. The co-chair is Mrs. Gurley, Irene Roberts Gurley. She's also a student of mine from Cottington. Lionel Brown, my student from St. Patrick's. Aston J. Wallow. So many of my students, have been very, very supportive. Or Hassan Tall, so I really want to say thanks to all those who are in the forefront, who are helping us, to carry on this project. I want to say thank you also to our chair of the board of directors, Mr. Timothy Gardner. He's an African American who's married to one of our Liberian daughters, and he is very, very supportive. All those who have supported, all those who are planning to come, we say, please come and support us. And when you come to the program, please come prepared to learn, to listen, because it's not just going to be one of those things where people come, they're talking, and you can't hear what the host is trying to say to you. This is, you come to the program as if you're going to a class, you're going to a lecture, because we will be showing you some traditional African Liberian customs and practices that may be very meaningful to you, especially since a lot of us live in the diaspora and our children don't even know some of these things. It's not an event for children where children come, they run up and down the place, because first of all, you got to have manners, when you come to an event like that. So it's not one of those American type of event where the children run up and down, and make noise and this and that. No, it's an event where you want to come and really listen to the message. The message is very, very important. It has to do with peace. It has to do with self-preservation of our history and culture. But we
Thank
want
you.
to thank everybody and thank the focus on Liberia staff for all the support that you've given us over the years. We really do appreciate, your support. And also we pray that, we pray for the country. We pray for the incoming administration. We want to assure them that we are here and prepared to provide services, as consultants, as experts. Uh, we're more interested in hands-on type of thing than the political side. I'm not a politician. I'm an educator. If you want to fix the educational system, I can assist to fix the educational system. If you want to talk about building up creating cultural awareness and promoting peace, that's what I want to do, to help. And next year is going to make it my 50th anniversary. And I look forward to returning to Liberia after more than 20 some more years in exile. I look forward to returning, to help, for us to go forward because Liberia needs all of us to work together to do that.
Thank you. And Heron, your final words yet? We are about out of time yet. Your final words before we leave.
Okay, let me start by saying thanks to the Focus on Liberia team for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight to share our messages and to encourage our friends and any Liberian who see it necessary to support our goal, support us in our journey so we can achieve what we aspire to achieve. We can't do this alone. We need all of us to be involved. So let's come together as one and do this together so we can make Liberia the better place that any other person can want to be part. So thank you to Focus on Liberia and thanks to our audience and to every other person who
Thank you, Heron, for doing this. Lamin, your final words.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. C, for the time. It was discussion worth listening to. We highly appreciate people supporting the cause for building a performing arts institution in Liberia where we all learn our culture and tradition. And the plans are there. We need everyone's hands on deck to move this thing forward. And we hope to keep interacting with the Focus on Liberia TV for whatever activities that will be going along throughout the day, Saturday. So we appreciate highly your time with us, and we hope to be here in a sooner possible time to give you progress on this project.
Amen.
Thank you so very much. And so, folks in cyberspace, you heard that, and you heard it there. It's about country, how to build the foundation of our country. And I think there's no other better foundation than our culture and promoting peace in Liberia. So if we don't know who we are, which is our culture, and if we cannot coexist, which is peace, if we don't respect each other, when we disrespect each other, even when we build a mansion, we'll break it down. And Dr. Baba is here. He can tell us we set that bad example. We can't go back to that. And this is what the institution is about, institutionalizing the teaching of our culture and also preserving it. And we're talking about peace as well. So that we can't thank you enough for this work you have been committed to for 46 years and counting. And you are teaching young people, you are training peace agents, and they are going out there, they are carrying the messages of peace to our people, and not only in the Queen language, but in our local language. And I'm happy that you have embarked on the project to build an institution that will be able to give a certificate for our languages and other things, our culture, dances, and all that. I was very good at the wall dance. That I don't think you can match me in that. But let me blow my horn.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's
But
great.
we got to go. And folks, in cyberspace, before we take leave of you, the way you can contribute to the very, very, very great project and this great institution, we have the information in the Facebook live feed. The Cash App is there. You want to write a check, the information is there. If you want to attend the event, the address is there. The time is also there. We posted everything there for you. But
And,
if I
and also,
if
and
find
also,
it,
you know, we take accurate record of people who contribute,
exactly,
and we publish it, you know, in our website and on my social media page and all of that. So
exactly,
people will get, you know, credit, you know, for what they do. And
right,
Dehkontee Artists is a non-profit organization, 501c3. So donations made, you know, are also tax deductible, especially here in the States.
okay.
So we encourage people to do that. And we will also get back to you whenever we receive any of your donations, and then we officially, you know, acknowledge receipt of your donations and keep an accurate record of what's taking place.
Thank you, folks. Thank you. That will do it. Again, if you miss any of the information and you need it, maybe you want to contribute, want to attend, send a message here. Focus on Liberia. Reach out to us. We'll be more than glad to direct you how to make a contribution to this very water card and this great institution, Liberian owned and run, that has been around for 46 years, doing what is us, Liberian culture. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the song that says we are all Liberians, and bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you so much.
We all love you. Love you is our